Hey everybody, this is Asher. We haven't done one of these in a little while, so it's time for a channel update. If you're here visiting on YouTube, hello, welcome, nice to see you. If you've come over from Twitch and just happen to see, oh my god, he has a YouTube? Yeah, I do. I've had one for quite a while. But I haven't been terribly active until 2021, where I thought, you know what, let's try this again. Let's just get back into having some enjoyment here. And it's already been 2 months of content, and it's been a pretty interesting sort of dip getting my feet back into it. So let me go ahead and just kind of catch you all up while we're playing Superflight here, because we do some silly things sometimes. So Superflight, if you haven't seen it before, is a fun, happy little game where you fly into things and try to get enough points. So we'll see if we can do this and kind of stay focused on the channel update, because this is something where I am looking to try to go back into YouTube. But if you have noticed, or maybe you haven't noticed, this is a sort of different perspective on the channel now compared to where it used to be. None of my videos are monetized anymore, and there is a specific reason for that. Part of it is just because I don't really feel like dealing with AdSense or any of that nonsense. Part of it is just because this is more of a hobby for me. There was a time where I did look at YouTube and was like, you know what, I could potentially grow this into an income replacement. But that was about the same time my other career, if you don't know, I'm an attorney, mostly do criminal defense now. That kind of moved on. Or grew up there. So to that sense, it's like, you know what, if I'm coming back to YouTube, I'm not going to do it as something where I'm trying to make any money off of it at all, because with that tends to come other weird habits or anything like that. So what's the plan now in terms of that? Because I know there's nothing wrong, and attitudes have kind of changed on monetization for things. I am looking at potentially doing some kind of Patreon thing, and it's not so much for me because I'm fine on income and everything like that, as we have a new high score. That's bizarre. No, what I'm looking at doing with the Patreon is more along the lines of, if there is sort of any charitable cause or anything that I want to raise money for, I'd like to do it through there. Now, I know there's plenty of cynical people out there that are like, hey ho, how am I going to know that you're going to be actually giving the money that's donated on there? That's something that I want to kind of work on, proof of concept and things like that. But if you have any places that you think could be interested in, like I said, I have a few ideas in mind as well. There's the inevitable crash, still a high score, congratulations. But the next question kind of goes down to, as I'm kind of trying to move down the list, is that monetization is something that's not going to be through YouTube here. So if you're running an ad blocker, don't feel bad, at least on my behalf. Feel free to unblock the ad blocker for other channels that are trying to make a living off of YouTube, that you support their content. Absolutely nothing wrong there. But why stream? Because you may have noticed, at least in terms of if you've come from my old like Kerbal Space Program content, that was way too risky there. There's a lot of video editing and stuff that I've done in the past, and RIP Kerbal Space Program coming out until like 2023 at this point. But I do a lot of my content now by recording on OBS, and one of the reasons that I do streams is honestly because I have a lot of access to analytics. And what I've found is that I'm doing better now breaking the rules of YouTube, which is kind of the channel header up here, and it's worth mentioning here. There's a lot of content creation rules, dogma, ideas, things like making your videos 30 minutes, asking people to smash that like and subscribe button, which we'll do a little experiment with that later. Like this video if you like Superflight, I guess. But the other thing about it is that, well, streaming is just a little easier. I can just transfer it over from YouTube, and even though my computer hardware is much improved compared to what it used to be, it still does take a lot of time to splice together and edit videos. And if it's just going to be something where it's like, hey, I'm on Twitch and I just want to move it over, it's fine. But the other interesting part that I wasn't expecting, and it started with my Dyson Sphere program content, but it carried on with even like even streams for things like Curse of the Dead Gods, where I don't get zillions of views, and I'm never going to get zillions of views. Even if I just get one viewer, I'm happy, to be honest. That is true. This is just something that I want to share with other people here. But I found that people tend to stick and watch around for a video, even if it's like a 2 or 3 hour stream, and they will stay and watch it far more than if it's a 30-minute video. And I don't know if that's just unique or if it's a selection bias issue, because if someone's going to click on a video for 2 hours, they kind of know what they're getting into. It's just a fascinating thing. So I've been doing like longer streams of Dyson Sphere program. That's fine. I've been doing longer streams of Curse of the Dead Gods, and that's performed better, at least in terms of, I guess what I'm saying is that even though this is mostly just a hobby thing for me at this point, part of that hobby is trying to make content that people are interested in seeing and watching. That seems like people are more interested in watching something where they can sit around, like just get a bowl of chili, grab a coffee, and just hang out for a while instead of like, okay, let me go episode by episode, little chunk by little chunk, which is absolutely not what ye old YouTube handbook would tell you to do. But that's knowledge from a while ago, and it's 2021 now. Things change. So that's why I stream Asher1611 on Twitch. I wanted to make it Asher Wells, but that name has never freed up, despite all the times I tried, so I've given up on that. My old stream was Way to Fail Self, which is my old screen name as well. That's kind of inactive, although I think the YouTube/Way to Fail Self still comes here, so whoops. But let's go. This is a good segue enough as any into current content, because the streaming is not going away. I have had a few requests for like, well, you used to stream during the day. Part of that is work conflicts. If I can get work to work with me, I mean, I'm my own boss, so technically it's me being personally responsible for, I have to be in court. I have to make an appearance. That was almost really good, and it was garbage. Kind of like court. But what it boils down to is that I kind of just need to have my time to come together. And right now, the most convenient time for me to be streaming is kind of late at night after the family's asleep a few nights a week. And that's just a good way to unwind at the end of the day, because it's not like I'm sleeping anyway. Sometimes I'll work on writing. Sometimes I'll work on music. Sometimes I'll just read a good book. Sometimes I'll fly really slowly into a rock outcropping. But sometimes it's going to be games. And that's just kind of been a cool way to hang out, see people, run into people. But current content that's going on right now, because it is going to be streaming. Dyson Sphere program, I am still planning on finishing a Dyson Sphere, and then I think I'm going to let that sit on the cooler for a bit until there's another big substantial update, and then we'll kind of do it again, as I have a dog squeaking in the background. I guess Travi wants to say hello. We'll pay the dog tax if it comes down to it. Then we have Curse of the Dead Gods, which I've already kind of said in my videos and streams. That's going to be more of a monster of the day kind of thing. It comes up when it comes up when I feel like playing it. It's a game I've gotten better at, but I don't know. I get a little bored playing a game when I just keep making the same mistakes again and again. So Curse of the Dead Gods, it'll be there, but it's not going to be anything where like push out one video a day. It's like one video when I feel like it from time to time. Because I see some other content creators, they practice a whole bunch of runs. The stutter there wasn't intentional, but still effective. And then what they'll do is like cherry pick their best video of the day. I don't have that kind of time. So you're seeing literally my play to play, run to run, which I guess is neat in its own perspective. Also kind of gets to Dawn of the Mexica, which I have been trying to do off camera a little bit. And Dawn of the Mexica is a roguelike. And if you have any familiar with roguelikes, those things are hard, and by their design and by their nature, you got to put a lot of time into it just to learn. And some of the off-camera play on there has worked out really well, if I'm being honest. And it's a game where I'm incrementally getting better, but at the same time, my runs are ending at the same zones or the same areas, either Chicalco, which I think is how you pronounce it. Maybe it's not. We're just going to dive into the Oblivion here, which is fitting for Dawn of the Mexica, or it's either going into the little cultist cave. So I want to be able to get farther and just kind of get some strategies together, because I can show. And maybe unlocking the thief class will help there. But that's going to be another one of those things where it's there while it's there, and it's a game that's not going away. It's already fully released, so I can revisit it. But future content, I do want to talk about that just briefly, because that's kind of the lifeblood of a channel, is just one of the things that I really burned myself out with. Is chasing that lifeblood a little bit. Back when I was doing my YouTube channel, updating it in earnest before, I realized I was getting myself in a trap of just chasing the latest game that came out, just to try to throw out a video as soon as possible on it. And then maybe it would get some hits, maybe it wouldn't, and then I just graze on to the next, like a human locust. And that's not sustainable. That's kind of going away from, am I doing this channel to play games, or am I doing it to chase numbers? And for some people, chasing the numbers is the game, and that's the enjoyment. And I don't want to take away from anybody who does like doing that. It's just a good discovery that that's not what I like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh god, I just looked away from the screen for a second and killed myself. Yay! But there are some games that are on the horizon that are going to definitely be some recording things. It may actually be some streams, like Loop Hero, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's the best demo I played by far from the Steam Winter whatever Demo Fest independent creator things. I'm definitely going to be streaming that, and those will be streams that go up. And that's just one of those things where it's a game that I enjoy enough that I want to play it, but I also am aware that there's a bunch of people that are going to be making a ton of Loop Hero content, and hell, I'm going to be watching some of what other people do as well, just to kind of compare notes and see. But it's a game I do highly recommend and want to play and have been waiting for, so I'm going to play it. Kind of the same with Humankind. I haven't played a ton of Civilization 6, which is kind of surprising, but Humankind seems like a really interesting mix of the things I like from Endless Legend, even though I have trouble kind of finishing runs there. Actually, there's a few games from Amplitude Studios that I'm interested in. It's kind of one to look out for there. But it's kind of weird because a lot of the games that I'm looking forward to playing are 4Xs. Like there's Humankind, which is very interesting to me. Remnants of the Precursors, which if you haven't heard of that, you will be seeing some of that on here because it is going through beta and it is almost done. That is a remake of Master of Orion 1 with a lot of modernization to it, and it's really cool what the developers are doing to preserve the integrity of the old game, which some people will say, not me, but a lot of people say that it's the greatest 4X of all time. I'm not going to sit here and try to judge what people say about that because I have a very interesting relationship with 4X. It's probably the one that I put the most time in of anything with Civilization 4. But there's a lot of good 4Xs out here, but I think it's interesting to go kind of a blast to the past on that as well. Solar Ash is another game that's coming out, but that's probably closer to the summer when it's actually releasing. But yeah, this is a great time to play games that are created by smaller developers because there's a lot of good stuff coming out here. So that's definitely some stuff to look forward to. I'll continue to do Dyson Sphere program, like I said, because it's still in early access and there's updates and new stuff worth talking about. That's a really good, easy way to get points that I'm going to screw up here in just a second. And then Curse the Dead Gods, there will be updates on that as well. I've already seen kind of the development roadmap for that. So that's something where there'll just be some evergreen content there. Kind of like what I used to do with FTL. It's like, let's do a series. Let's do another series. Let's just do some runs just for shits. That's kind of how it's going to be for here as well. Okay, this is a dead end. No, it wasn't. That's nice. Kind of like future content going into the last sort of part here, which is viewer's choice, which is really something that has been surprisingly successful over a long period of time. Oh, I was so close to getting a lot of points there. I've done viewer's choice a few times on this channel before, and I know y'all aren't privy to numbers or maybe don't watch old series that were posted, but I still get a lot of comments for viewer's choice games that I've done before. Those are some of the most successful series I've had on here, not just because you all, the viewers, watch it, but it's also a great way to get people to discover stuff because YouTube is not the wild hinterlands that maybe it was in 2011, 2012, 2013, and it wasn't even really then either. But there's a lot of content that people will chase around, and then there's a lot of things that are really good, and that I don't know why I smashed to pieces there when I clearly slowed myself down with my body. But like, for instance, Lords of the Realm 1, I still get comments from people saying that all the time, like being cool, somebody's actually playing this. And that's kind of my hope for seeing something in the future with the viewer's choice, which I will be posting. That'll be this Friday's double feature of Free Play Friday, because I'm going to leave it up to you all. There's two options. They're both games that I'm familiar with. They're both games that have really, really, really good, thick content that we can dive into. But that's something that I'm going to save for a little bit later. But I just want to tease out there and say that's all coming this Friday. Oh, God, we're dead. This Friday, March 5th, is when I'll have all of those posted. So 2 days from this video. So be on the lookout for that, which means if you want to, you can subscribe to this channel to get updates on that. But like I said, it's not something that I really push, even though, like I said, I kind of want to do a social thought experiment of like, if I ask people to like my video at the beginning of like a stream, will that carry over from Twitch to YouTube? It probably will, but like I said, it's one of those things where if you're visiting the channel for the first time and you've managed to stick through this weird narration of me slamming myself in the face into rocks while talking about the channel for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, strangely, cool. Hello, welcome. There is more to come on this channel. This is something that I never deleted everything. There's still a lot of stuff on here, and one day my kids are going to find this channel and be like, Dad, you talked a lot about games for a very long time. It's like, I know. So it's kind of cool that this will be up on the internet just regardless. But this is a hobby that I enjoy. And looking forward, there's going to be some other stuff that I am planning on doing that I'm not ready to talk about yet, because my goal kind of going forward for this channel towards the end of the year, remainder of the year, is that it's going to be game content, but not all just me playing games. So we'll kind of cross that bridge if we reach it, if my hopes, dreams, and aspirations kind of boil down here. But let's go ahead and finish out this flight and call it a day. If you've watched my stream enough or at all, you know that I suck at sign-offs, but I'm going to try my best here. This is Asher, and this is YouTube channel update for March. And I'm having fun. And as long as I'm having fun, I'm going to keep making videos. So definitely give me your thoughts and opinions in the comments here. If you're visiting for the first time, a subscription is appreciated. But you know what? Even just, I love hearing from people. I've met people from all over the world just through YouTube, which is just a fascinating portal because games bring us together. And in times like this, we really need something that we can hold on to and say, you know what? I may have crashed on the screen here, but I can smile about it. So hopefully I brought a little bit of good to your day, but be good to yourself. This is Asher. Thanks for watching. Longest sign off, but not the longest and worst that I've done. Channel update for March. Probably do this again in 2 months and kind of see where we're at and where we're going. That's the goal. Have a good one.